This is the Global Broadcasting Service, serving remote outposts since 1928.
Hi, everyone. Welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Express monorail.
Caramba, we have something really big for you today.
Welcome, foolish mortals.
Now then, hang on to them hats and glasses, because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
This is the DBC Pod with Phil Schoen and Jason Dodge.
Hi friends, welcome to this week's pod. This is the show for the week of September 15th, 2025. We're recording this on a Sunday rather than a Monday, so if there's any updates on Monday, don't blame us for that. This is still going to be coming out on Tuesday, so you're listening, it's Tuesday, but we recorded this 2 days ago. On the show, I think, Phil, we're wrapping up your trip report from like 5 years ago,
yep,
right?
Roughly.
Are we finally finishing that up? So we're going to go all of Phil's Epic Universe adventures. He's going to talk to us about the rides, the food, all these kind of initial impressions. So we'll get to listen to that.
Yep.
Not many construction updates. We'll get to that as well. And Phil, I just want to mention we were able to share coffee with each other. I was coming back from a business trip a couple of days ago. We probably should have done it at the coffee shop.
I was thinking that was like kind of the whole premise of our podcast, right? Like two guys just sitting down over a cup of coffee.
That would have been perfect.
But, yeah.
You know, but alas, we are never prepared. And we had the idea after the fact anyway, so what difference does it make at this point? That being said, I think, Phil, we just go right to the news, right?
Yep. Yeah, there's a few small news items this week that I thought were kind of interesting that I wanted to kind of get Jason's reactions, talking about how this could impact parks and stuff like that. The first one is that this is for Hong Kong Disneyland, but they did announce they will be getting a new Spider-Man attraction. So they already have like a Stark Lab area in their Tomorrowland, so they don't have a separate Marvel area. It's part of their Tomorrowland, but they're going to be getting a whole new building and ride and stuff like that. And from the concept art, it looks like it's sort of a drop tower, like a Tower of Terror style ride system, but not in a Tower of Terror building. And it's just going to be sort of Marvel and Spider-Man themed, which I think makes sense, right? You probably have a ride where you're falling and Spider-Man uses his webs to catch you or whatever like that. I could see it definitely working out and stuff like that. So they also mentioned from the concept art, you can see Thor, Black Panther, and Doctor Strange as part of the ride. So I don't know if you saw this, Jason, but I was wondering what your thoughts on the concept in general and sort of like using a drop. Like, I don't think Disney has any other drop tower type rides other than Tower of Terror. So I didn't know your thoughts on that. And
also one at Disneyland.
Yeah, well, which was a Tower of Terror and is now Guardians. But would you like to see like more of these types of rides, even like a second drop type ride at Walt Disney World, or are you good with just Tower of Terror?
I mean, I'm always good with more rides. Like if Disney World says, okay, we're getting a new ride, it's this, I'm not going to complain. I mean, I'm sure somebody's like, oh, it's just the same thing. But like, there's different things you could do with it. Rather than feeling the drop, you can feel the push going up, right? You can do all sorts of different things in reverse. Sure. I mean, like, I'll take another one with another. Like the one thing I don't like about Tower of Terror is I love the queue. I love the pre-show. I think that the travel between like the initial raise to get to the drop position is kind of dumb. And it, like, you know, they can make it look better transitioning to the drop shaft. And the actual just drop shaft itself is just dark, right? You're just bouncing up and down. So another one with like some screens or some props or some other like show elements in the actual ride itself would be kind of fun. I mean, you're dropping, you're scared anyway. It's pitch black, but it's like, okay, what difference does it make at that point? So, I don't really care. I guess I don't have a.
I think it would just be interesting because I know like the big thing is like, will they retheme Tower of Terror at Walt Disney World when they've done it elsewhere and stuff like that? And I know a lot of people really like the theming as is, so it would be kind of an interesting concept to say, okay, well, we'll leave that alone, and then maybe in a different park we'll add like, you know, if they ever could do Marvel or something else, that would let them do a different drop tower where they can have the themes and use the screens and stuff like that and kind of make it a different experience without having to retheme Tower of Terror.
Would you be a fan of retheming Tower of Terror, or is this something that you prefer they wouldn't, but ultimately doesn't ruin your day?
I would say more the latter. I would prefer they not. I think, you know, it's the best version of that ride. It has the most elements to it. So it's kind of like the best and the original and stuff like that. So I'd prefer they leave that alone. But if they change it for something amazing, I'm not going to chain myself to it and stuff like that. But
I mean, like I love. I mean, I grew up watching Twilight Zone, but like the theme doesn't like get me in any way. I do. If they ever had to get rid of the Twilight Zone moniker to it, I would like for them to keep it spooky. I mean, I
Right.
like the scariness element of it. I think the storyline doesn't have to be Twilight Zone right now, but again, I wouldn't care if the retheme, as long as the retheme is like good. But like, I don't think it's worth the time to like change the drop shaft and all the other stuff on top of there. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I know if they ever like just because of licensing or something, they don't want to use Twilight Zone. The one in Japan, I think, is more like Society of Explorers and Adventurers and stuff like that. Or it's still kind of spooky and scary, but it's not Twilight Zone. So you could probably do something like that.
I mean, you could keep the same theme. It's just a haunted like hotel. You just have to take out like the Twilight Zone elements that
like the
no
pre-show
one under the
video and
age of
stuff,
40 knows what they are anyway
Right.
at this point. So I don't think anything is lost at that point. But okay, I mean, it'd be cool if it's Spider-Man. I know my kids would like it more than Terror of Terror at this point, but whatever.
The next thing is that the restaurant Marrakesh sign was stripped of its lettering at Epcot. So this is a restaurant in the Morocco Pavilion in Epcot that hasn't opened since COVID. Like it closed with everything else in COVID and hasn't reopened yet. So it's kind of noticeable that it's been used as like a lounge during festivals and stuff like that, but hasn't been an actual restaurant. We don't know what this means. It could just be, they're doing maintenance on it. It'll come back and look the exact same. But it did get people wondering like, oh, it's since now that Disney's taken over the pavilion, are they actually going to do something with the space, put in a restaurant, or maybe completely get rid of it and use that space for an attraction or something like that? It got me thinking like, well, A, what are they going to do? But also just, it used to be like a more authentic sort of Moroccan restaurant. It had like belly dancers and things like that. Like, do you think that type of restaurant would do well in 2025? Like, or do you think they need to do something with like characters or some other gimmick, or should they just make it an attraction or something?
I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, just from my own personal view, right? Like, not looking at it from like a macro level of what kind of foods that they need. They don't need the food because they do a good job at Spice Road Table and stuff like that to get like the flavors, right? I will never say no to other options for dining, especially in Epcot. But for me personally, so if we're kind of going around the world and I'm trying to find something that both my kids and my wife will eat, my wife being a vegetarian, England is not a big hit for her because it's just like maybe I'll have some fish or a salad at that point, right? There's nothing appetizing for that. Chefs de France, she was kind of happy with her ratatouille when she had it there, but like nothing else screams at at her from the menu. She's not into fish, so any of the Japanese or sushi, so some of the Japanese places won't go for it. She likes Chinese food, but I don't think I want to go get Chinese food while I'm at Epcot because we have got some good places around us. We had the Mexican restaurant pavilion last time, and we were not huge fans of that. So another option would be great. As long as they have good things for her, I would love to see just another traditional sit-down restaurant. Something that with more, I don't know, culture relevance in it, like the belly dancers, stuff like that.
That's what it felt like what it used to be, was that it was a more authentic experience than even maybe some of the other pavilions.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not calling for belly dancers at Epcot, right? But like, there's probably a lot of different things with that culture that you could put in there to kind of get like an authentic experience. Like in the Japanese pavilion, you do an excellent job there. Not so much in the Mexican pavilion. It's just like, it's a Mexican restaurant with, decent food. But I think that would be really cool. I'm all for it. Does that restaurant share a kitchen with anything else, or is it just strictly for there?
I don't know, because it does have Tangerine Cafe, which I think is either connected or close to it, so maybe they do. I'm not sure, but it's definitely separate from Spice Road Table, so it definitely doesn't use that. So I'm not sure.
Because Disney will probably never rip out a kitchen for like a ride or anything else like that, because just the infrastructure, the plumbing, they're always going to keep that there. So I'm afraid that it's probably either going to be just a lounge forever, though. It'd be really cool if they built like a really themed lounge for like and stick like Aladdin in there or something else cheesy or gimmicky or something else like that. But that would be really cool if they made like a authentic. I mean, I don't know what else they would make it. I don't know if just saying Aladdin is like insulting.
Well, that they have the characters there, even though obviously Aladdin doesn't take place in Morocco specifically, but they have had the character meet and greets there. So I don't know.
I don't think they need more character stuff. I think they got enough of that there in that park, and I just think like, if it became a character meal, then the price is already inflated and the quality of food goes down. and they're already having trouble filling a lot of these restaurants in the park. So I think that's the only reason why we haven't seen a restaurant back here is because they're struggling to fill all
Yeah,
the
I don't think they
restaurants.
need
and
another
they're not
restaurant
bloating it, yeah.
necessarily. Yeah. So it's just interesting what they'll do with the space. Maybe it will be more of a lounge. I mean, obviously, it seems like Beacon Barrel's doing really well and stuff like that. So they have Geo82, but this was obviously other side of the park and could be more family friendly and stuff like that.
Because I was traveling obviously this week, but I could have sworn I saw a note and it just popped into my head. You know, the Beacon Barrel was doing so well. What weren't the creators or the Imagineers or something was reported that the people that were working on the Beacon Barrel are now going to be working in Villains Land, and there might be a separate experience. Did I just
Yes.
hallucinate and see that, or did that?
No, there was some of the same people were on the. I don't know about separate experience or something like that, but somehow it was some of the Imagineers with that were connected to Villains Land. Yeah.
So I'm just because we have speculated that we're probably going to see some another lounge type of experience at Villains, right? It would be smart, right?
Yeah.
I think. Okay, but yeah, I would like a every place on property should have like a lounge type of experience, and they almost kind of do. Like you got the Brown Derby and Hollywood Studios, which is kind of loungy, but not like entertainment based loungy.
Right.
Animal Kingdom's got Tiffin's and the Nomad Lounge. Again, not a themed experience, but it's so gorgeous there. It's just like the atmosphere is theme enough, I think, because you're in the middle of almost like a jungle. Magic Kingdom's got one now, and Epcot really, I don't think has one really. I mean, they got a lot of food options, but like other than Geo 82, which is just basically an upscale bar, it's not like a themed experience. I think Epcot is due for something like that. So that might be kind of cool.
And obviously, Hollywood Studios also has Oga's. But if they did something like kind of the equivalent of Nomad Lounge and kind of connected it to Tangerine Cafe or something like that, that could be kind of cool.
And it's just got to look nice and pretty out there.
Yeah, but people like places that you could just take a little break and stuff like that. You don't have to commit to a 2-hour meal or something like that. So.
Shout out to the Japanese. I can't remember. What is the sushi place in
Shikisai?
Shikisai. That view where my daughter and I sat in our down and back was absolutely fantastic. Yeah. If you guys like sushi, go in there and see if you can get around there like around 3:00 where it's not too crowded, and you can probably have anywhere you want to sit. It's an awesome place to kind of relax.
And the last news item I had is actually about Universal, so it kind of ties to my trip report as well. But Universal did confirm, well, they didn't use the word demolition. They said they're like preparing it for future work, future projects or something like that. But basically that there's demolition is going to start on the Lost Continent area of the Islands of Adventure, which most of that area had already been closed. There's not a lot going on in there. Right now there's already so it said they're going to be demolishing about 5 acres on the theme park site that includes retail, show, attraction building, and associated utilities. It's called Demolition Project 555 in the permit. And that area is where there's the Poseidon's Fury Adventure was, the 8th Voyage of Sinbad Theater, and then currently Mythos Restaurant is there. The last thing I've heard, I don't think it's changed, is that the idea is that this would become a Legend of Zelda area.
That's what I heard last year, but
I don't know. Now there's some thought like, will that be an expansion over at Super Nintendo Land and Epic, and this will be something else? We don't know, but yeah. So that's kind of the latest thing. It's good to see they're continuing to work on the other 2 parks, even while there's a lot of speculation about expansion happening at Epic soon as well.
Universal in their parks need to be very careful with what they built there, because if each park they have a Harry Potter area, a Nintendo area, a Jurassic Park area, and then like pick something else. Like every park is going to be the same, but like with like a different set of
attractions or whatever.
IP attractions, the same thing. Would you go? Like to me, that would be an interesting vacation. I don't know how bad it would be if like people got bored of like the same 5 IP in 3 different parks, but like they're just slightly different. I think that might be kind of funny if they actually ended up that way in 20 years. But
I don't know. I mean, I guess something like Nintendo, there's so many different things. It's not like I wouldn't want Super Mario Brothers in every park, but there's like different Nintendo properties, and you could have completely separate things.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with all the Nintendo IPs. Like you could have a full Nintendo park.
Oh, sure, yeah,
and be much better than almost anything else that you can put together. Like Star Wars is not conducive to good lands, but Zelda Land, Mario Land, a Metroid Land, Final Fantasy, Pokemon. Yeah, the list goes on and on and on. It would be kind of cool.
So we'll see. So more projects to come, more construction happening, and we'll see. It'll just be interesting to see if it does turn out to be Zelda or not, because there's speculation that the expansion area for Super Nintendo is either going to be Zelda, or originally it was going to be some talk of Luigi's Mansion, kind of keeping it more Mario themed. So
We'll see. Construction updates, not too much. We've got, I lost the link here. Hold on. Here we go. All the way down to the bottom of our show notes. basically, it was the Adventureland sign returns to the Magic Kingdom. I didn't look at the pictures super close, but it looks kind of the same. It's just like it was touched up a little bit, fixed.
Yeah, it looks pretty similar. There was a lot of speculation, or people were like, "Oh, are they going to take away some of like the imagery, like the spears and things like that? That kind of like they were kind of taking out of like the Jungle Cruise." But it seems pretty much the same as before. So
nothing in Animal Kingdom unless you just want to see them moving dirt and kind of prepping for when there's always something going on. Shout out to Drew the Disney Dude, was looking at pictures with his new rat. What did he name his new rat?
Jerry the Rat.
He's the construction rat that's going on in there. His name of my new band, Jerry the Rat. At Epcot, you've got they painted the World of Motion logo in I believe it was the exterior loop. So as you go around, you can see the World of Motion logo that was painted.
Yeah, it's technically the Test Track logo, which is very similar to the World of Motion logo. But yeah, it's the logo. It's in the middle of the loop.
Last time I take the headline from WWNT, but there we go. Hollywood Oh no, that was last week. Nothing else. I think I had a miscellaneous update, but I completely lost it. It's not in here. Wait, actually, let me look real quick. Did I actually do anything? I didn't. Never mind. I lied to everybody. I think I saw something, but it wasn't really worth updating on that. But that's all the construction updates. And then with that reminder for all of our social media at the DBC Pod everywhere that you can find us on any platform. But more importantly, Discord. Hop on Discord and join the conversation. Because now Phil is going to go over his trip report for Epic Universe. I think we're just going to do like the 2-day kind of review, go into the rides, and then are you going to do the food after that?
Yeah, so as I go through, I'll do my dining review and stuff like that of the restaurants and stuff like that. But at the end, I thought we'd play a little game where we see I had my spreadsheet of all the different food items I wanted to try in Epic food and drinks, and then I can tell you how many was on my list, and then you can guess how many of them I actually had.
This is a weird trip report. It's like we started in the middle of the trip,
and
then we did the end of the trip, and then we're going back to the beginning, which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, so this was our arrival day, the day we flew down, and then we Ubered from MCO over to the hotel we're staying at, which was the Grand Helios Hotel, which is the nice hotel that's basically in Epic Universe. It's in the back of it. We got there at like 1:35. Our room was not ready. Not surprised about that. The earliest you could say you're going to be there was 3, which is what we put. So we had them hold their bags and stuff like that. We went to the pool bar to get lunch because we hadn't had food. That was a really nice experience. It's a nice pool laid out there. Hopefully the trees grow up a little bit more because you can actually see some of the show buildings from like the Dark Universe area and stuff like that. But food and drinks, everyone was really nice. I don't know if we just went like at a slow time, but the pool was like practically deserted. So I don't know if just an off time or something like that. But the food and drinks were good there.
Two things. Where is the pool bar for this? I'm trying to look at a map here because Google Maps is basically still the construction site. So where is it like in the back side of it?
It's kind of weird because like you have to go sort of out the main entrance and then to the side towards where the monsters area would be in the park. And then the pool bar is kind of in the middle of like the pool kind of goes around the pool bar.
So I was very angry with you on day one. I sent you a text to see if you got down okay. And of course you sent me text with these amazing drinks with you and your wife sitting down and relaxing. And I'm here busy struggling with my day to day. I'm like, Phil's having such a good time. Darn it. I'm jealous now. But the drinks looked yummy. I mean, it seemed like you guys were having a good time.
Yeah, they were good. And it was kind of standard pool drinks, but they had a little bit of a twist to them. So it wasn't just, kind of the drinks you can get everywhere. And they were crafted pretty well and had a nice server and stuff like that. We got wings to eat and stuff. It was good.
Okay.
So we're pretty happy with that. So check-in was kind of interesting though, because they have 3 stations where you wait online and they have 3 spots, but only 2 of them had people and one person was dealing with somebody and then she wound up like leaving and stuff like that. So they really only had one person kind of helping people and the line was building and building and building. And, they're very pleasant. And I guess because it's with Lowe's, they kind of they want people to have like conversations with people as they check in and stuff like that, which was great when you're the person having a conversation and everything's friendly. But like, when the line's building and nobody else is, and there were like 4 people over at concierge. I'm like, could some of them come over and maybe help people or something? It was kind of, I don't know. It was a little weird.
Have that fixed because the hotel's been open for 4 months now, right? Something like that. I always find it like, when I go into like a Disney hotel, I enjoy a conversation with the cast member, but like just to have the conversation and also check me in at the same time, right? Like we don't. I also really, like you said, dislike whether you're at a hotel check-in, you're buying groceries, you're anywhere in retail space, and the other person, they're just chatting it up in front of you. And I'm like, you got a job to do. Let's go. Let's move it.
Yeah, and it was all about like, helping the person out. Like, oh, do you want us to show about this? And here's the map. I mean, like it was like that, but it was like okay, kind of read the room, I think, a little bit, or like I said, send somebody else over or something like that. And it seemed like every time we checked in, there was always a line and stuff like that. So that could have been a little bit better. And then they say the rooms are supposed to be ready by 4. Ours wound up not be ready until 4:30, and when we went up to the room, the cleaners were still there. So
you have to get a free drink for that. I think that's the rules, right?
That was not the best first impression. The second impression was excellent, though, because then we got in our room and we had a room that overlooked the park, and we got to see out into Epic Universe from our room from the 8th floor, I think we were on. And that was, really cool. And it was really neat to see the park and everything moving and all the people walking around. You could see off to the side, you could see some of the like expansion zones and constructions and stuff like that. I kind of joked, if you like seeing the roofs of buildings and construction zone, this is also a good park to be at, or a good hotel to be at. But obviously the best part was seeing Epic Universe and everything going on from there.
So let me ask you a question. So you were seeing the top of all the show buildings from your vantage point. Was that right? Do you think they should have themed all of that so the view was better from the hotel, or would it not be worth it?
I don't think it would be worth it because it'd be so much of it, and I just they had enough things to get done to get the park open and stuff like that. Sure. And I'll be honest, like generally, if you're looking out, it wasn't bad. It was really only when you look more to the side you can see things. Okay. So it really wasn't too bad unless you wanted to see it.
Okay.
Then we went down for dinner, which was at Flora Taverna, which is sort of the Mediterranean restaurant they have in the lobby. They had asked if we want to sit inside or outside. We decided to sit outside since the weather was nice and we could overlook the park and stuff like that. It was nice. The only issue with sitting outside was you could hear music from the restaurant, which honestly didn't really fit the vibe of the restaurant. It was kind of like quiet techno dance club music. And then you could also hear the music from the park. So it was kind of clashing, like to hear like the Super Mario's theme. And then like,
was it really loud that you could hear the Mario's theme?
It was enough. Like yeah. You could definitely hear all the music from the parks and stuff like that.
You said it was on like off the lobby where like does the lobby elevated up from the park also? Where you can
it's like kind of up rised on a hill. So when you do go into the park from the hotel, you kind of it's kind of like a winding ramp path down.
Gotcha.
That does go down a little bit. So you are maybe the equivalent of like second or third story up above the park. And there's a lot of like, there's an overlook area that has the big statue and it has fountains that kind of like cascade down and stuff like that into the park. So it's actually, that was lovely. We spent a lot of time there while we were waiting for our room on that kind of outdoor area and stuff like that. Overall, we liked the restaurant. The food was quite good, very big portions. I wrote in my notes, the service was a little odd. Not that it was bad. She was very friendly, but she came by like every 2 minutes or something. Like I don't know if she was just bored or she would just want to check on us. One thing I noticed, the water glasses were kind of small, so I don't know if that's to force them to come by all the time because they have to keep refilling your water.
Just leave me alone. Let me
I know, it's kind of like, okay, we're good. Like just let us like eat. So it kind of threw us off a little bit and that sort of thing. So overall, we liked the restaurant. We split a pasta and a salmon dish. Both were very good. They make the pasta there. I don't think I'd go out of my way to eat there, but if I'm staying at the hotel, it's like for our setup where there was our check-in day, where the day at the hotel, it made a lot of sense to eat there. And maybe if I was a local or something, because like I said, there were big portions, you definitely could have taken some home. I might check it out or that sort of thing, but it's not something that, if you're doing a Universal trip, it's like, oh my God, you have to go to this place.
What was the cost of the average plate? Is this like a $25 or a $35 average plate?
It depended what you got. The pastas I think were like in the 20s, upper 20s, low 30s. Some of like the meats and stuff were in the 40s though. Okay. So it kind of depended on what you got. So you could do some things a little cheaper, like more in the 20s, but it did get up there as well. So it wasn't. Okay. It wasn't super expensive, but if you ordered the more expensive things, it could add up for sure.
Okay.
Then we went back to the room to kind of chill out and get changed and stuff like that. We had drinks, a reservation set up for Bar Helios, which is the bar at the very top of the hotel.
Okay.
Really cool place, really cool vibe. The bar is kind of in the center and it has like a painted dome ceiling that looks like all the constellations and stuff like that. I'm sure everyone listening has probably seen pictures of this and stuff like that by then. Again, they asked us, do you want to sit inside or outside? We opted for outside. The only thing was they wanted to put us on the table that was like the furthest to the side, almost in a corner, and right next to this large group of looked like, maybe 40 somethings women that were out celebrating somebody's birthday or something, and had definitely had a fair number of cocktails in them and were quite loud. So I mentioned as we were going to see, I was like, they're kind of loud. Can we sit somewhere else? So they moved us to another table that was kind of by the railing, and that worked out great. Funny thing was, we saw them try to put the next couple that checked in at the exact same table that tried to put us at, and they said the same thing. No, can we move to another table?
Yeah.
That sort of thing. Overall, we had a really nice spot though, overlooked the park. The only thing kind of weird was, I guess when you're looking at the building at the top, there's sort of like this, I guess, ornamentary like railing that goes around that looks like little like columns and railing and stuff like that, like decorative piece. But when you're sitting at the tables in Bar Helios, the railing thing's like right at eye level. So it's like you can't, you either have to like, because it's like kind of pillars and stuff. So like my wife's a little shorter, so she was like looking underneath, like crouching down to look out. And then I could like look up a little bit or stand up or something like that. So I don't know. That would seem like a weird design choice. I don't know if they designed it to look good from the outside, not thinking how it would impact the seats at the bar and stuff like that.
Okay.
I think I posted some photos on Discord of it and stuff like that, but that was kind of interesting. We had really nice drinks. We tried a number of the drinks. They're definitely a little pricey, and we've noticed they've increased the price. Everything was $1 more than when it first opened.
Gotta make that money.
I guess so, yeah. So I tried one of the nicer drinks, the Angel's Envy fancy drink, because I was like, well, when else am I going to get here to try it? That was $27. It was good. I definitely wouldn't get it again, especially at that price. We tried a couple other drinks that I liked better. Everything, it reminded me a little bit of like their version of Geo 82, where everything's kind of upscale and has kind of like a little twist, and it's like this is refined through that and has this essence and that sort of thing, where it's like you add kind of a little extra thing and throw the word artisanal in front of it, so you can charge like $5 more. But the drinks were very tasty. Everything we had, especially the other ones. My wife had a couple drinks that they were excellent, and we got one of the desserts there. We were just hanging out. They were not rushing us at all. And then they had the fountain show at 10 p.m. that night. And I think that's the best. That's better than watching it in the park, because when you're up high, you hear all the music. They pipe it in. They lower the lights, and you can just see all the light effects that go on throughout the park. Cool. And you can really see them spread out and change, and see the fountains go. And when they're doing the Mario part, all the lights are on in the Mario Land, and when they're doing the monsters part, they turn those off, and only the monsters land.
Yeah, I guess that's the only place we can see that, or the rooms that are
exactly.
It, right?
Yeah. So like I said, I think I would, I don't think Flora Taverna is a must do, but if you're going to be doing an epic day, I think, especially the day before or something like that, I highly recommend doing Bar Helios.
All right, let me ask you about like the hotel in general, right?
Sure.
Because we kind of did like a hotel thing here.
Yep.
A lot of people complain about Disney hotels these days because of like lack of theming, or the theming is sparse or whatever. Because this is not it's not a Universal hotel. It's a Lowe's hotel that they're partners, right? Whatever. Did this seem like too much? Did this seem like a generic hotel that happened to be by a theme park, or did it fit?
It definitely fit the theme, because they're definitely going for this like kind of Mediterranean Greek type feel. So it fit in with the center part of Epic Universe. It was nicely appointed and stuff like that. The lobby looks very nice. The rooms look nice, but it wasn't an over the top theming. It wasn't, it would have been, it's almost hard to judge, because I was thinking about this, like, what are my thoughts on the hotel? If it wasn't for location, I don't think it would be anything special. The closest thing I can think of, compare it to, it's like not a deluxe at Disney. I would compare it to the Grand Destino Tower.
Okay.
And maybe not even as nice as that. It's like where it's nice, but it's kind of like a nice hotel that kind of could be anywhere, but because of where it is, and it does blend into the park very well, that's what makes it special. But the hotel itself, I didn't find to be anything super special.
Yeah, I mean, when they were building it, like I don't get, like, I'm not a fan. Again, I've never been there, so we're going to talk about this more in your day 2 as you do your park day.
Yeah.
I never understood, like, you got the whole central spine of the park where all the different portals are attached to, where it's like stars and constellations, because this is an epic universe and all this other type of things. I don't think that really serves well for theming. It seems generic to me, like stars and whatever. So as you're going to go through your date 2, I'm going to be asking about, like, Does it feel like you're in a really great theme park? Does it feel like it blends together? Does it seem generic? Does it seem like a regional type park? Because that's the vibe I get by looking at
Yeah.
it. Obviously, with a higher
Well, it's
quality
interesting
to everything.
because like you said, a lot of people are like, "Oh, there's too much. Everything's IP at Disney, whatever." And this center area, Celestial Park, it's themed to like the celestial and the heavens and kind of the Greek gods and stuff like that. So it has a theme, but it's not an IP. So it's kind of like what people are in some ways are asking for, but that it also does feel not as themed as like the lands, which are super themed to the IP they're in. So it is kind of an interesting vibe it gives off. It really that center spine and stuff. A lot of people are saying this is what the center of Epcot should be. Just because of all the water they use and how it flows and stuff like that. And it definitely has those kind of vibes of that area of Epcot. I think this is the park that's the closest equivalent to Epcot that Epic has, or that Universal has.
All right, so we're going to get into your day 2.
Yeah.
So you after Bar Helios, you go back. You're probably tired.
Yep.
You go to sleep, but you're getting ready for your big day that you've been very, very anxious
Yes.
about.
I was anxious about it to know how it was going to work. Obviously, it's a new park. We've never been to it. There's a lot to do. And I also know that you're a little bit dependent on the reliability of the rides, if they're actually up, and then also the weather. If it was going to rain a lot, a number of the rides have to close during the weather. So there's some things out of my control and that sort of thing. We did have an express pass. We did buy that with our tickets. So we knew that as long as everything was kind of up and running, we'd be fine. But there were some things out of our hand.
Right.
So yeah, we woke up, opened up the curtains and stuff like that. And I do say it was really cool to look over the park and kind of see the park itself wake up and kind of, all the team members kind of going around getting the park ready. I noticed I saw a lot of like kind of landscape people that like had these carts with like plants on them that I guess they were replacing or adding plants all over and stuff like that. So that was kind of neat. I was also trying to keep an eye on like how early are people lining up? Like, if the park opened at 10, but early entry started at 9. So I was like, oh, are people going to be lining up at like 7 or 7:30 or whatever? But it didn't seem like too many people were out there or anybody really at that time. So what we did was we got ready and, we went downstairs and got coffee and a breakfast sandwich from the grab and go place. That's one thing that Helios doesn't have, a true like quick service dining. But I do think the grab and go place did the job well enough. They have Starbucks coffee. They had, kind of grab your breakfast sandwich or a pastry or something like that. So it definitely got the job done, at least for breakfast and stuff like that. But it is something that probably the hotel's missing a little bit. We went down and we were in line at 8:16 for the 9 p.m. early entry start. And I'd say there were about 30 people ahead of us in line.
Now, how was the integration of the hotel with a park entrance to it?
Yeah, so it has it's off to the side near where that grab and go place is. They have their own sort of like security and stuff like that, because you do have to have the way they do it. They have like metal detectors you put your bags through and stuff like that. It almost feels like TSA to check everything, and then they scan in your tickets and everything like that. One thing they do here is they take photos of everybody when you get into the park, and they use that to kind of map your image to your pass. So this way, when you're going around the park, which is interesting because I didn't realize it right away, but that's how they do Express Pass. When you go in there, you don't scan anything. They scan you and they say, oh, this person has Express Pass mapped up to them. And you just go through. So you just have to like stand on a spot and like kind of look at a camera and then you go. So that's one thing you have to do. And so that's all kind of like in a side room that's built into the hotel. And then you go through a door and like I said, there's these kind of winding paths that go over rivers and, things like that to get into the park. And then they stop you at one point and there's kind of signs saying, if you want to go here, there, once they started open. Like I said, they normally the early entry starts an hour ahead time. Sometimes they do let people in a little earlier. We noticed that on our checkout day. It seemed like they let people in a little bit before 9. But there was a team member, and I really appreciated this, at the front of the line, basically at about, say, 10 to 9, said, okay, we're going to let everybody in at 9, and we want to let you know that there's going to be some late openings for a number of rides. And he listed off like the Minecart ride, Stardust Racers, Battle at the Ministry, which I appreciated that they were going to let people know versus you race over to those rides only then to find out that they're not open. So I thought that was really good that they did that. Unfortunately, that meant there were fewer rides open, so everybody was going to be going to the same things, but it is what it is. So they let us in right at 9. Obviously, there's 2 entrances to the park. It seemed like it was about the same time they let everybody in. We went straight over to Super Nintendo Land with the goal of doing Mario Kart as our first thing. I guess we hustled pretty good because we were the second people in line for Mario Kart.
Are you going to go, because you have a space in the show notes about ranking the rides? Are we going to go over the rides in detail then, or are we going to do it during your?
I thought I'd talk about them not now, my thoughts and stuff like that, and then at the end I just go
Okay.
over my rankings.
I didn't know if I to interrupt you with
Yeah,
questions.
so if you want to ask about the rides or whatever you want. So obviously it's a really cool queue. You're going through Bowser's Castle and stuff like that, and really a ton of details. If you're a fan of the ride and stuff like that, it really does make you feel like you're in that world. The whole land in general, but I think especially that queue and stuff like that. So for those that don't know, the Mario Kart ride is like an augmented reality ride. So you wear like a headset, but you go around in the car and you can steer it a little bit, and you're going around on a track. But the main thing you're doing is shooting things. So it's like you see through your visor like all the enemies and stuff like that. So you shoot the shells, but you have to drive around and collect the shells so that you can shoot it. So it's pretty similar to the game, except in the game it's kind of like mostly racing with a little bit of shooting.
Yep.
This is like a little bit of racing, mostly shooting.
Okay.
So instead of getting like one shell at a time, you get like 20 at a time when you collect it and stuff like that.
Did they pull off the effect of like the augmented reality? Did
I
it
thought
look good.
It looked pretty good. I think there were times because if you have to kind of look down if you want to see how many like shells you have and stuff like that. So if you look around too much, you can kind of see the edges and then it goes away. But if you're like focused on it and looking through it, I thought it worked quite well. And there's some scenes where there's supposed to be lava and stuff like that, and they make it feel hot and things like that. So I thought overall it was I didn't know what to think about. I've heard mixed things about the ride. I thought it was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. It was one of the few rides we wound up doing twice.
Yeah, because I remember seeing the one that they opened up in Japan, and it just doesn't look good on YouTube, just because the augmented reality is not going to look good on YouTube. So I was really curious to see like that you had a good time. So that's awesome.
It's definitely like it's fun. That's what I would say. It's not like, oh my god, life changing or anything like that, but it's a fun ride. So we were off that ride at 9:22, and then we went over into the Dark Universe area because both those rides were up. We did Curse of the Werewolf. We were there at 9:30, off at 9:42. That is Curse of the Werewolf is a roller coaster that the cars that you're in, everybody sits back to back like 2 and 2, and they spin around as you go.
Is it like super spinning, or is it?
No, it's not super spinny. It's probably the motion with Guardians, but it's not controlled. Like it's just through gravity that you spin. So it's not like how Guardians will focus you somewhere. This is free moving, but it didn't feel like you weren't going around and around.
You weren't getting whipped.
No, it's just like at some parts you'd like turn around and then you're like going backwards and then you're not, and that sort of thing. And it does like where you go up a hill, but you don't quite make it. And then you go backwards and then you go faster. So you get up the hill and stuff like that. This was probably the ride that surprised us the most in a positive way. Judy really liked this ride. She's like, that was great. That was really fun. And I know it's kind of gotten, I don't know, negative takes on it. People don't think it's anything special. We thought it was really fun. So, so I don't know if it's just our expectations were lower, but it sort of exceeded whatever expectations we had. Then we went into the Frankenstein experiment, which is the main e-ticket in the area, one of the two biggest rides in the park, I think. It's a dark ride that uses like a Kuka arm type thing, or Kuka arm, to take you through Frankenstein's castle, which is now his great granddaughter who's running it, and she's had more success in bringing back some of the classic monsters. So Frankenstein monster is helping her and stuff like that, and they're able to bring back the Wolfman and the creature from the Black Lagoon, but she's not able to control Dracula. So that's the whole big kind of plot and kind of where the conflict arises. Tons of animatronics. They're all really well done. Unfortunately, one of them didn't work when we went, which definitely kind of took us out of it a little bit. But overall, really cool ride, really well done. It just shows what they can do with animatronics and stuff like that, and kind of the motion. It's similar to Forbidden Journey, Harry Potter, but just much better. Obviously, it's the next generation of it and stuff like that. So it was really well done. I know a lot of people think this is the best ride in the park. We'll find out where I put it. So we were in the queue and stuff like that. We got right into the ride at 10, and we were off at 10:07. So we did all three of those rides during standby during our early entry. So I think we got kind of a lot accomplished during that first hour.
Now, since this is your first time in the park, you're basically blitzing, right? So you did months of study of how touring plans and how to do everything.
Yeah.
Looking back during your early entry, are you happy with the pace that you did things as the first time being in these parks, or would you pull a mulligan in Matt's parlance that would you like to have been able to explore without the stress of having to jump around with your first time? Would you do that differently?
I think No, I think I was happy with how we did it because we
Okay.
knew we were going to have more times to explore like Dark Universe later in the day, and we wanted to do it more at night and stuff like that. So based on what was open too, there like not everything was open that normally is open.
Okay.
I think we handled it well, and I was like I felt really accomplished with what we did, and we were like kind of set up the day for success. I think
Okay, so it kind of took some pressure off of you later,
exactly.
so you can really enjoy it later. Okay, fair enough.
So then we went over to the Harry Potter area, the Wizarding World, which is mostly set in Paris. And we had breakfast there. So we ate at kind of there's two main quick service locations in there. We ate at one of them. I'm going to say this improperly. My French is not good. But it was Café Léard de la Sereine,
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Which is beautifully done with tons of tile work and stuff like that. I mean, it really is impressive that this is just a quick service. And it was also our first time experiencing how they do a lot of the quick service in Universal, which is you go grab a seat and they have a QR code on the table and you use that to order, and then they bring you the food to your table. So you don't have to wait in line to order your food and stuff like that. You do it all from the table. Overall, I thought that worked well. Although then when the server came by, she was like, "Can you get anything else?" And we're like, "Well, we didn't see in the app how to ask for just cups of water. Can we get a couple of cups of water?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, sure, no problem." Blah blah blah. And then like we never got the water. And then she came by. She's like, "Oh, did you not get the water? I told them to bring water." And he's like, "No, we didn't get them." So she eventually got that. And then she gave us like a free lemonade because we had to like wait for the water. I was like, it's really not a big deal, but it was appreciated. The food was really good there. We got like breakfast food. So one of them was like this. It was a oeuf and crochet, which is basically like poached eggs with cream sauce and cheese over mashed potatoes in a bowl.
I'm hungry now.
It was really, really good. Like I highly recommend that, especially as like a breakfast thing to kind of fill you up and stuff. And we also got the butterbeer crepe, which is kind of like what they're known for. It's the first time they've had butterbeer in crepe form. That was really tasty. That's definitely shareable though, because it's very sweet. Like I would have a sugar overload if I ate the whole thing. So
Is this a like type of place? Because I love these type of things. Like when we do this, when my wife and I have ourselves in like the Magic Kingdom, we like to do like the little sprint around in the first 2 hours, but then sit somewhere and eat. The only place that we could really do it comfortably is outside of Casey's when Casey's is not open yet. We get something from like Starbucks and kind of chill there. Is this a place where you can kind of do a bunch of stuff like you did and like sit down? Is it like relaxing?
Oh yeah,
in a vibe or whatever.
At least when we were there, it was relaxing. I mean, there were some people there. It wasn't empty, but it wasn't packed or anything, and you could definitely chill in the air conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's exactly what we tried to do. We're like, okay, we know we're gonna like kind of see what we can get accomplished in the first early entry hour, and then we're gonna eat and kind of settle and kind of take in the day and think about our next steps and stuff like that.
Before we get on to the next thing. I have all these questions about like overall park theme, music, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want to save that to the end and kind of get through your itinerary here?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So the only thing I'd ask is some people are like, oh, the food's like expensive. It definitely is more expensive than typical theme park fare. So I think each of the breakfast things we got were $20. They did each come with a drink though, and you could get like one of the fancy lemonades and stuff like that. So I don't know. It didn't feel too bad. Like that's all we got. We each got that with our drink, and we were full. So
yeah. I mean, like a fancy drink anywhere else is going to be like $7, $8.
Yeah, exactly.
So like the breakfast is $12, and it was good. I mean, you can't really beat that, but you're forced to buy the drink.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. So it's kind of included or whatever. So then what we did was we walked a little bit around Harry Potter because we were the area because we were waiting for the first or the next showing of the show that they have in there, which is Les Cirque Arcanus, Arcanus. I always say that wrong. Les Cirque Arcanus, and so that I was going to mention this later. That I think that's one thing that surprised us the most. Like you were saying in the morning rush, we didn't take things in. We spent a lot of time in the Wizarding World. We hadn't seen any of the Fantastic Beasts movies. It's not like we knew what all these things were, but it was just so well done and so much to see. We spent time just going around watching people use their wands and get the effects going. In one place, there was like a mirror that had somebody in it or a picture frame that like talked to the people out there. And it was like almost like the Crushes, like Turtle Talk with Crush effect, where they were actually like talking to the people and stuff like that. It was really cool. So that was one thing that surprised us, how much time we spent just kind of in that area hanging out.
Was there enough like room? It sounds like there was enough room to like stroll and enjoy kind of like walking around a country at Epcot.
Exactly. Yeah, the very equivalent. Obviously, it's like France. It's kind of like walking around France in Epcot for sure. So we saw the show, which was amazing. That was one of the highlights of the day, I think. Really well done. Um, Even just the queue they have you waiting in looks really cool. Tons of things to look. And then there's kind of like a pre-show where a whole bunch of things happen, where it's integrating actors and screens and stuff like that. And then you have the main show, which has tons of puppetry and stuff like that. So it's just a really well done show. And I think if anybody's doing a date epic, that show is a must do.
Okay.
After that, so that was a 11:35 show, and we got out at 12:05. And then we used our express pass to ride Battle at the Ministry, which is the other big e-ticket in the park. It is obviously the Harry Potter themed one, which has a lot of fun things with the queue, where you go through the Flu network, which makes you go from Paris back to London to go to the Ministry. And the whole premise is that Umbridge is on trial, and everyone's here to watch the trial and see how it goes. And obviously things go wrong, and that's the whole premise for the ride. So it was posted as a 120-minute standby wait. We had Express Pass, which just like a week earlier added Battle of the Ministry as well as Donkey Kong Kart Madness to it. So we got on at 12:09 and we were off at 12:43.
Oh, wow.
So we still had like a 20+ minute wait to get on. That is kind of how Express Pass works at Universal. It's not like at Disney where you really get to the front of the line. There are often like 10 to 20 minute waits and that sort of thing. This part of it is just how big the queue is, and you kind of go through the different stages of each of the queues. It's just, well, everybody else is going back and forth through switchbacks. You kind of just have a straight line through that area of the queue. But there's like like an element where you see into Umbridge's office, and there's like a house elf there, animatronics, who you do get to see that. It really doesn't skip anything from the queue. You just kind of have like, a straight shot through each element. Okay. So overall, I thought this ride was incredible.
Is it like a typical like dark ride? Like you're in a vehicle and you kind of go around?
So they sit you down in, like, the idea is you're in an elevator. And so it kind of looks like a Tower of Terror ride system, but then it goes sideways. And the idea is obviously in the wizarding world, the elevators go up and down and back and forth and stuff like that. So you go over and you see Harry Potter and the kids, and they're like, oh, we got to get over to see the trial. And then obviously something goes wrong. And then all of a sudden you're whisked away and you're in this giant showroom with tons of animatronics and battles going on and stuff like that. So it's really well done. They really integrate screens and some of the huge animatronics and stuff like that. So I was really impressed with it. To me, it's by far the best of the Harry Potter rides. So
I mean, like, I've never spoiled myself on any of these, with the off chance that I end up going at some point. And no, that's good too. I'm trying not to ask spoilery questions and stuff like that, but I'm trying to get like, what your vibe and your feeling is.
So this one really impressed me. Like I didn't know what to think of. I was trying to keep my expectations in check. But overall, I thought this was really well done, and everything seemed to be working and stuff like that. So I was really glad, because I know this is a ride that can be a little temperamental and that sort of thing. Afterwards, we stopped for a drink at Bar Moonshine, where we each got a drink. I got the Philosopher's Old Fashioned, and Judy got the Floor 75. And there was kind of like a couple little tables with chairs, and we just sat outside and enjoyed the weather and had our drink, and just kind of like I said, it was kind of, that was part of the vibe. Like, we just wanted to enjoy ourselves, and in that area, it really was transportive into this area of Paris. Then we headed down into Berk, which is the How to Train Your Dragon land. I know this is the area that people say is probably the best and most complete, so I was really looking forward to it. We did finally break down and rent it, because we couldn't find it streaming for free anywhere. The first movie, so my wife could see that, and then on the plane down, she watched the second movie. So we both had seen the first two movies, so we at least had some idea of who the characters were and stuff like that too. This area is really cool. I mean, it's like every inch of it is touched and themed, and there's lots of like animatronic dragons just around and stuff like that. Just a lot of moving things and stuff like that. So it's really well done. It's probably an area I wish we'd done a little bit more exploring. But I don't know, we didn't see as many characters out, and we didn't want to wait in line to meet Hiccup and Toothless. It was like a 70-minute wait to meet them and stuff like that. So, we did the attractions, and we ate there and stuff like that. So we did Hiccup's Wing Glider, which is the roller coaster there. That's a really well done ride. It's like a better Slinky Dog, basically.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. And it has onboard audio. So it has like explaining like how because the idea is that like this is like training you to give you the experience of flying as a dragon, and it's kind of explaining to you what's going on. It's with Hiccup's voice and stuff like that. That's really well done. We then went to see the other big show that they have, which is called Untrainable Dragon, which is obviously the How to Train Your Dragon show. And we used our express pass so that we got in a little bit earlier, which is nice. Not obviously a must do. We got there at 1:50 for a 2:15 show. Excuse me. That show is really fun. It's got a lot of singing and stuff like that. It definitely felt a little more for kids than the other show did. There is definitely a wow moment though the first time you see Hiccup and Toothless when they come flying through and stuff like that, like through the, obviously not trying to spoil things and stuff, but I think most people maybe have seen that part in two. So there's definitely some wow moments in the show. I definitely would say for us at least, the Harry Potter show was the superior of the shows. That one I would say is a must do. This is kind of like if you have kids and you're into the IP, I would do it, but if you don't get to it, I don't think it's the end of the world. We had lunch at one of the quick service there, Spitfire Grill. I had the Hiccup Salmon Bowl, and my wife had that. I had Astrid Shrimp Bowl. These were excellent. They each come with like a different grain. They have the meat on top, 2 different vegetables, and there are different vegetables between the bowls. It wasn't just like everything's the same and with a different meat. Everything was different sauces and stuff. They were really good, and it's like for a theme park to have something that felt a little healthier and stuff like that was nice.
This was quick service, you said?
This was quick service. We did mobile order for this, and that is one little hiccup they had there where it's like you kind of like at Disney, you say like I'm mobile ordering and then I'm here, prepare my meal. And then it never said it was prepared. All of a sudden it was like ready, done, and then it went away. And I'm like, what happened? You never said it was ready. You just said it's like done. So then I go up and like there's a line. I show the guys like, oh yeah, it's ready. And then they go and like start getting everything ready. I'm like, well, I don't know. It's like the app didn't line up with what they were actually doing. We still had to wait. Weird. And like, I don't know. The other locations, I think, where they bring the food to your tables and stuff work a lot better. I don't know. Just something was off with it here. But we really enjoyed the food. Was a little challenging finding somewhere to eat or sit to eat. There weren't as many open tables. But we eventually found something. It wasn't too bad. Excuse me. Then we did the other ride there that's called Fire Drill, which is like kind of like you're on a boat going through a water area.
Actually did that.
We did that. That was fun. It was kind of like, I don't know, there was just a lot of things that got you wet, but you couldn't really shoot too many things. I guess you were shooting some things and it was supposed to make things happen. And then sometimes you could shoot the other boats, but not a lot. And I don't know, it didn't really work for me.
Was it enough? Were you getting like too wet where it's just like uncomfortable a little bit?
It was kind of like at weird points you'd get wet. It wasn't like there's a similar ride at Legoland, but it's like much more straightforward. Like the paths go so the boats face each other and you're shooting the other boat. And there's other things to hit too, but it's like much more clear. Like I'm going to get wet at this point. Okay. This was like surprise when you got wet. And then things when you thought you were going to get wet, you didn't get wet. And then like, I don't know, it just was kind of like something seemed off with it for maybe it was on my end. I don't know. But it definitely wasn't the better of the rides overall. There was one other ride there that doesn't have express pass and can get a long line, and it just wasn't a priority for us, the Dragon Racers Rally. Overall, we really liked Burke. I definitely think it's the most complete land. The only negative is there are some spots where you can see out of the land, not only just to other parts of the park, but you can actually see out of the park.
Huh.
And like across the street, there was some other like building thing going on. So you're seeing like trucks going around and stuff like that. So when you could see that really like took you out of
Is
the
it
immersion.
because like the trees haven't grown yet that's over there?
It might be some of that. It was just, I noticed it was worse. The worst spot was when we were in line for Hiccup's wing glider. So maybe it's just how that's set up or something, but hopefully they can put something in to block that view. Yep. But other than that, we really liked the land. It did, of all the lands, it's the one that probably felt the most crowded and the most hectic, for lack of a better word. Maybe that's because that's where the families were spending a lot of time. So it was the most like strollers and kids and stuff like that. It just kind of compared to the other lands, it felt the most sort of stressful, for lack of a better word. Then we did some shopping there and shopping back in the Harry Potter area because that was on our way. And one thing we did, we stopped to get us at the confectionery there. Okay. And because part of the trip was to celebrate Judy's birthday, we noticed different things they had. And they had these kind of mini cakes. They were like maybe 7 or 8 inches tall and maybe, like 6 inches in diameter or something like that. Kind of like, like a mini cake.
It's like a decent size cake.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're like, oh, those are all pretty the way they're done up. And we got like, and so we decided to get one and we we thought it would be good. They were only $14 for the whole like mini cake. And
Oh,
we're
wow.
like, so we were going on like, you can get a whole cake here for $14 versus paying $22 for a slice of cake at the cake bake shop. But all right. So we got that, and then we brought that back to the room to have. We initially were thinking about going for a swim break, but we got back a little later than maybe we thought we would, and didn't want to bother with that. So we just chilled in the room in the air conditioning and stuff like that. We ate our cake. Also, a very good friend of ours had scheduled, and they came up to our room with a bottle of champagne and some snacks and stuff like that to kind of welcome us. So that was a lovely surprise. So we had champagne and cake while we were resting and stuff like that. So that was a lovely afternoon. So I'm trying to think exactly. I forget exactly what time we went out. I know that we did fire drill at 3:19, and then we did the shopping and stuff like that. So I think we were back in the room right around 4, and then we decided to get back to the park at 5:38. And this is really where the hotel shines, because it's like you go shopping and you just go right into the hotel, right up to your room. It's like 5 minutes.
And
versus
getting in and out, like with security and stuff
it's
like that.
really, I mean, yeah, it's like obviously you have to go through it just for getting out or getting back into the park. But especially during the middle of the day, there's like nobody in line. It's like super quick and stuff like that. So this is like, as great as it is to watch the park and like to have that view and stuff, I think midday breaks is where really like that's what you're paying for. I think for staying in the hotel. At that time we decided to go ride Stardust Racers. The standby was listed at like 20-ish minutes or something like that. And we knew we wanted to do both sides of it. And with Express Pass, you only get one try, and there's 2 dueling tracks. So we got
you can select which one you want based on the
exactly.
line you get in?
Yeah, exactly. So this way we knew we could get on, we'd do one standby and then use our Express Pass for later. So we were in Stardust at 5:47, and they were off at 6:12. So not too bad for standby. This is an amazing coaster. I mean, obviously it's like there's tons of inversions and super fast and stuff like that. Like you have to be into that, but this was an incredible ride, and how it does the multiple launches and the dueling trains, and how like there's parts where you're like doing inversions around each other and stuff like that. Like it's an awesome ride.
Is there like one side that's better than the other, or are they both like equally fun?
I think they're both similar. The general consensus, like one's green, one's yellow, although it's a very like yellowy green, so they're pretty similar color. The general consensus is yellow's a little bit better, and we wound up doing both. I would agree with that, but it's like, they're very, within tenths of a point or something like that if you're ranking them or something like that. So
you're not wasting by getting on the wrong
exactly
one,
exactly. Yeah, and it's definitely worth it doing both. Then we went back to Nintendo Land. We wanted to hang out there and kind of explore that area for a little bit, and wanted to do the minecart, which we used our Express Pass. This is a problematic ride in that it closes a lot. Apparently if there's like one drop of rain, they shut it down. It seems like it was a posted 120-minute wait for standby.
Wow.
We were told Express Pass is roughly 50% of the standby wait. So we'd still have to wait like an hour using Express. But that's how it is the whole day. So we're like, well, if we're going to do it, I guess we'll do it. So we were off Stardust at 6:12. We were on to Minecart at 6:56. So we probably had to wait about 40-ish minutes. So it wasn't too bad. But it was just a slow moving line and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's a fun ride. I don't know if you've seen this or what, but it's a roller coaster, but where the track that you're actually attached to is lower.
Yep.
And then
I've read about that effect.
And there's an arm, and then so it makes it look like you can go over jumps and switch tracks and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's a fun ride. It's not worth waiting 2 hours and stuff like that for. But it's a fun ride, and I think it's a really cool ride system. I'm glad that they added it. I also would say, and maybe it's just, again, I had my expectations were lower. People say like, oh, it's super short or whatever. It didn't feel that short. I mean, it was short, but like it wasn't, there was more to it than I thought there was going to be, but maybe that's because my expectations have been lowered so much. I was expecting something super short, and when it wasn't, 30 seconds, it was like, oh, there's actually more to this. During the day, I had been messaging with our friend Zach, who was in the park, and we got together over in the Burning Blade and Dark Universe with him and his friend Brandon, and we were kind of hanging out. Unfortunately, the effect with the blade lighting up and fire wasn't working, so we didn't get to see that, unfortunately. I've seen it. Saw it from like the hotel room and stuff like that. So it's not like we never saw it, but we didn't see it up close, unfortunately. We went into the Burning Blade, which is like kind of the Monster Hunter bar hangout area. And we each got drinks. And we also got this garlic bread. It's like kind of in the shape of a dagger, and the idea is it's super garlicky to keep vampires away and stuff like that. So we got that to eat, and we honestly just hung out and like sat and chilled and chatted with each other probably for close to an hour.
Oh wow, nice and
yeah.
vacationing.
Exactly. Yeah, it definitely
Cool.
was. For about the last maybe 10 to 15 minutes, one of the monster hunters who was around, who's a team member playing a character, came up to our table and was talking to us about the monsters and like hiring people and stuff like that. And it was really fun. I have to say, I was a little anxious about that because I'm kind of introverted and never know, like, I'm not like, I don't seek out those interactions and stuff like that. But
the introvert on a podcast for
I know. Well, that's why I'm talking behind. That's why I'm talking behind a microphone and not like into the room. But it was really fun, and she made it like and I think she can read the room and knew like how much we were into it or not. But it was good with the four of us and stuff like that. And so we had a good time. Then we went back to Mario area and we did the Yoshi ride with Express Pass, and we did Mario Kart with Express Pass.
Well, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
So, you're hopping back between areas. Was like getting from one place to another like difficult? Is it fast? What is that like?
Overall, it's very easy. I mean, it depends how deep you are into an individual port, but once you're out like into Celestial Park, the portals themselves are like less than a 5-minute walk from each other. So there was, I mean, obviously if it wasn't for meeting up with Zach, we wouldn't have done Minecart and then to Dark Universe and then back to Super Nintendo World. So that kind of threw off plans a little bit, but obviously it was worth it for the hangout, for the vacation and the vacation. So we did the Yoshi ride, which is kind of like the people mover that just goes around Super Nintendo World and you're supposed to like spot different Yoshis or whatever. It's like really for little kids, but it was cute. It was fun to go around. Obviously not something I would prioritize. And then we did Mario Kart again using Express Pass. Then we spent a little time shopping in Nintendo World to get stuff for my son and my nephew. And then we're like, okay, well, what do we want to do at the last like hour of the day or so? The one ride we hadn't done that had Express Pass was the carousel, the Constellation Carousel. So we're like, well, let's do that. It was posted as a 5-minute wait, although the team member said it was going to be like 35 minutes. I was like, well, that's a little different.
Really?
We got there at like 9:10. It probably took us about 15 to 20 minutes. So not the 35, but still that's like kind of a long time to wait for a carousel when you're using Express Pass.
Sure.
It's a fun carousel. It's done really well. Just how they kind of go around each other and up and down and stuff. And the music is beautiful. It's like kind of very orchestral and stuff. Again, it's not something you'd normally would wait for like a half hour, an hour for or whatever, but it was nice to do. Then we wanted to do Stardust again to use the other side. So we used our Express Pass for there. We did that at 9:40. And then we were like, okay, well, what do we want to do? Do we want to grab something to eat? Because there was a number of things we wanted to do that we hadn't had yet. Do we want to try to do Dark Universe more and stuff like that? We decided to like, let's go get one of the food items we wanted to do. So we went into the Blue Dragon, which is one of the table service, but we were going to eat at the bar. I was like, well, because they have a lot of really fancy drinks. I was like, well, let's get a drink and like a dessert to kind of end the day.
Sure.
So we got in there at like 10:59 or 9:59, right before they're about to close. The bartender's like, yeah, sure, like let me get you in, blah blah. And he's like, oh no, wait, I already closed out. And then he's like, let's get these people a table, blah blah. So they sat us at a table.
Okay.
And the server came by and stuff like that, and we each had a drink, and we ordered the wings there, which were excellent, and then we got one of the desserts, which was the banana Napoleon, which was probably one of the best desserts I've ever had in my life.
Oh wow.
So it was a really nice time. And again, it was another kind of vacation in the vacation moment where it's like end of the day, but we're kind of inside. It's a little dark in there. We're relaxed and we're having drinks. The server was super nice and stuff like that. So downside is we didn't do more of the Dark Universe. We really only did those rides during early entry. We obviously sacrificed, between jumping back and forth, wanting to have some eat, spending some time with Zach versus doing that. But we did get them in. So again, that's why I think knocking them out during early entry helped enable us to do other things later in the day. But yeah, so that once that was over, we went back to the room and that was the end of our epic day. So
you did a lot.
Yeah,
obviously, and that's what a hotel and you took like what, an hour and a half break?
Yeah, about an hour and a half. Yeah,
I mean, that's the benefit of not having to struggle through transportation to get to the park and waste like 40 minutes of your morning doing all the logistics to get there. You just kind of wake up, grab some stuff, and you're there. I mean, Disney, or at least Disney World, is like they want one of these experiences they could charge a ton of money for at one of their parks, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if by 10 years from now, over the next decade, hopefully we're still doing this show,
Yeah.
that we could talk about it. But I mean, like, I'm just looking through everything. You did shopping, you did all your eating that you wanted to do, all this other stuff. And that seems like a fantastic thing. Now, I don't know anything about crisscrossing this park. Obviously, I've seen all the maps
Yeah.
and I've watched videos, but like, you never get really the sense of all this. It seems like you got everything done. You had like
The only thing we didn't
nice
really
day.
do is because the entrance was in the back, we didn't really spend any time in the front. So like where the Kronos is, and there's a number of
Okay.
like shopping, and like there's the confectionery store up there and stuff with Captain Cacao, and like that's a whole thing. And like we didn't really get to that part of the park because we didn't need to. So that was kind of one thing. And then you talked about the middle part, the Celestial Park. We really only spent time going from area to area. We didn't spend too much time there. That's probably one thing I wish we had more time to do, which was, get something to eat. Because we passed a few places like, oh, did you want to get that? It's like, no, let's just go on, and it's that sort of thing. So I do wish we spent a little bit more time being able to do that. But obviously you can't do everything in one day. So have to
Fair
pick
enough.
and choose a little bit. So I'll go through my rankings. I know we're over an hour, so I'll try to be a little bit quick. Starting, so we didn't do, like I mentioned, that Dragon Rally's Racer, and there's also kind of a couple play areas. There's like a water play area and a Viking training camp, more for kids. We didn't do those, and we didn't do the meet and stuff like that. But we did 12 things, although a couple rides we got on twice. So ranking the 12 things, the last one I would put Fire Drill. That was the water one in Burke. That just didn't really work for us. It wasn't great. I put the Carousel at number 11 and Yoshi's Adventure at number 10. Those I think are clear bottom 3 for us. Not that they're bad or anything. It's just
It's a carousel.
Yeah, it's not so great. So then I would have a break to the next group. And these are kind of, depending on the day, probably could put in different orders. I would put Untrainable Dragon, the show, at 9, Minecart Madness at 8, Curse of the Werewolf at 7, Mario Kart at 6, and Les Cirque Arcanus at 5. So like I said, that group's kind of all together. Although, like I said, I think the Harry Potter show is much better than the Untrainable Dragon show.
Would your wife put the werewolf roller coaster higher than your ranking?
She might have it a little bit much. She might have it above like Mario Kart or something like
Okay.
that.
But still in the same band.
I think in the same band, yeah.
Okay.
Then I'd have a little bit of a break, and I'd have the next two, which is Hiccup's Wing Glider, which is kind of the better version of Slinky Dog.
What
And
makes
then
it better?
I think there's just more to see and more to do. The audio, onboard audio.
Okay. So
there's
it's less naked coaster and more
Yeah,
theming. Okay.
and there's more. There's some animatronic dragons that you see.
Oh, okay.
There's a whole thing about like not waking, like seeing the dragons hatch and stuff like that. So you go past the same area a couple times, and like the first time it's eggs, and then the next time it's their hatching and stuff like that. So
Okay.
there's like a little bit going on. So it's like an enhanced version of it. It's probably similar thrill level, maybe just a tick higher. Just got a little bit more kind of swooping to it. But it's kind of, if a kid can handle Slinky Dog, they could handle this
Gotcha.
as well. And then I would also put the Frankenstein Experiment in there. I would have that at number 3. It was really amazing with all the animatronics, but the storyline just was convoluted, or I didn't understand it. There was something about, Igor saying something about, oh, we always want more test subjects, but they didn't say why they wanted, like, I think we were test subjects, but they didn't say why they needed us or anything like that.
What would you say it's more or less confusing than the story for Tiana's Bayou Adventure?
I think more confusing.
Really? Because Tiana's Bayou Adventure makes no sense because you'd have no idea what the story is until it's over.
Yeah, well, I also think that one, it doesn't really matter. Like this one,
True.
I think the storyline matters more.
It's a dark ride, so yeah. I gotcha.
Then number 2, I would put Battle at the Ministry, and number 1, Stardust Racers.
You seem to have a lot of fun on that Stardust Racer just because it's a unique roller coaster type of thing. So how far, I'm assuming you're going to put Battle at the Ministry above Rise of the Resistance, just from the way you've described it.
It's close. I think I would put. I still think I would put Rise above it. Excuse me. I think Rise is a more complete experience with all the cast members playing roles and the pre-shows and things like that. So
Okay.
Maybe if we're just comparing the part from when you actually get on the ride vehicle in Rise, then Battle at Ministry would be better. But the whole experience, I would still rank above it.
Because I was ready to ask a lot of other questions if you had them like differently than that. Again, I'm not trying to go spoiler on it. I mean, Len Testa has raved about just the tile work and how big and expansive it is.
Yeah, I mean the queue is really impressive. And like, yeah, I don't know how many thousands of tiles they must have used. And there's different, like, depending on the room, it's different colors. And I was like, it's cool. Like, I don't know, maybe they should have spent money elsewhere. I don't know. I'm like adding another attraction or something. But it is really cool for what is, and obviously when there's 2 hour lines and stuff like that, the queue needs to be impressive because you have to keep people's attention and stuff like that. So.
All right. Well, I mean, that goes great with your overall epic thoughts. You're starting off. Maybe they should have built another attraction.
Overall, my thoughts are that it's what they built is incredible. The detail in not just in the rides, but in the lands and stuff like that. You know, I think I posted a picture of this. They have like spotlights that come up from each of the lands that, you know, kind of light up at night. I didn't realize the spotlights are actually colored and they're kind of color coded to the land and stuff like that. Like little details like that, and so much light work. And when you see that Disney can't even get like the ground lights at Epcot to work, and they have, I don't even know how many millions of lights they must have, and they're all choreographed and synced. And it's like kind of the Spaceship Earth show, but like the whole park doing.
Wow. Okay.
So it's like, it's really impressive. But it's also the downside is it's a challenging park to visit now if you're going for the first time. Like, I would not go and not have Express Pass. Like,
otherwise, because you get like 4 rides.
You'd get like 4 rides, and if you wanted to do the big rides, you'd be spending most of your day in line and stuff like that. And I mean, maybe you'd rather do a couple days and do that, like do 4 rides each day or something like that. But like if you're only going for one day, I would not do it without Express Pass. And I don't understand some of the choices they made with rides they have, like the carousel and that Dragon Racer Rally are incredibly slow loading rides, super low capacity. So it's like, even counting the shows, there's 13 things, right? Why are 2 of them incredibly low capacity and incredibly slow loaders, right? And then I understand why they built Mine Cart, because they already had it elsewhere and it's a cool ride, but it's Florida. It rains a lot. It shuts down all the time. And it's like, so, okay, so now you have 2 rides. So like, and if you count that, so there's like 3 rides I feel like they built that if you're only having 12 attractions, they can't be 3 of those 12. You know, like there's only so many. I mean, fortunately, Stardust Racers is really reliable, high capacity. Frankenstein Experiment, high capacity, really reliable. So you have a couple of those to go on. But like, I don't know, it needs more rides. And I wish they would have made some different decisions on what got built versus what didn't.
It's kind of like what we say about Animal Kingdom all the time, and
a little
Hollywood
bit,
Studios hopefully transitioning out of with some of the work that they're doing.
Yeah, and while like obviously there's a lot of details and you could walk around Burke and stuff like that, there's no animal trails like they have in Animal Kingdom and stuff like that. So I don't know. The best way I can describe the park is if it was Epcot, but instead of the World Nature side, you had like a Galaxy's Edge. Because you have kind of high demand IP and a couple big attractions, but you're losing a lot of the little things, right? By having just the big things. And obviously, you know, you have France with the Harry Potter, you have kind of Norway with Burke, but you're missing a number of the other countries that can take a lot of time that you can wander in and stuff like that. So
how would you say like the overall theming with like just the music and the walking around and like you know, like when you, it's hard to strip nostalgia away from walking underneath the train station and walking into Main Street in Magic Kingdom, or showing up at the front of the park at Spaceship Earth and hear that Epcot music hitting you like right in the face, and it's like it's going to be a good.
I think it's similar to that, especially since Epcot's updated the music, so it's not necessarily what I grew up with, but it still fits Epcot and stuff like that. So the center in Celestial Park, it has similar kind of orchestral music, and I can understand if you're somebody who grew up with this like epic, that could become like that's why I kind of compare it to Epcot the most. It has those like orchestral notes and like wanting to draw you in. I know a lot of people that are locals are waiting for annual passes to come out for Epic just so they can go for like an hour or bring their like laptop and work there for a little while. Similar to how you would do that at Epcot, right? Where you could work in World Celebration and stuff like that. So I think it really has those vibes down. The entrances, the portals into the land are really cool and really...
You get a good transition feel.
That's the best word. You really transition into it, and then you start hearing the music of that land, whether it's the Nintendo music that everybody knows or just kind of the dark music of Dark Universe.
So they do a good job of like sound bleed from like different areas then?
Yeah, I definitely think so as far as I could tell. I mean, maybe like in the park you could hear a little bit coming out, but overall I think they did really well with sound bleed. I don't know if they did as well with like some of the smaller sound effects, and comparing it to like Pandora, where you hear like the crickets and the birds and things like that. Like I didn't notice anything like that going on with sound effects, but they did a lot with music and stuff like that. And it really kind of brings you, and obviously the 4 areas have very different music and you definitely felt transported when you went through each of the portals.
What does it feel like in a park where, to me, the hotel, it looks like the weenie of the park, but it's a hotel? Does that distract you at all?
It does a little bit, I will admit, because it is just there right in the middle, and you kind of have like the pools and the fountain and everything kind of leads up to it. Because even, like I said, you have those cascading pools coming down from the hotel. So it really is integrated into the park, which is great when you're staying at the hotel. But like, if I wasn't staying there and I'm coming in and it's like, that's what I see is some other hotel that I'm not staying at. I don't know. I don't think it's a huge negative, but it definitely is noticeable.
I'd be curious, if you visit there and Helios is not where you're staying, do you just get like jealousy kind of
Probably a little
twinges
yeah.
a little bit? I don't know. So we ranked on 12. You said we got a couple minutes. Can we do your food game?
Sure. So bit? And we could do it pretty quick. I was going to say, so I listed out in my spreadsheet, I had a number of food items and a number of drink items, and I did my little math and stuff like that. So of the food items I had that I wanted to try, there were 13 food items. How many do you think we had?
Oh, I'm thinking you probably hit like at least 11 of them. Like I'm because we had the conversation. I'm focusing on like wings. I know you had like 2 different sets of wings that you wanted to try, right. And I said that one of them, unless you got them when you went back to the Burning Blade, I can't remember where they came from. So I'm going to go with like at least 11 because there's going to be one other food item that you didn't get.
So we actually only got 5.
What?
Yep.
With all the food that you ate,
the thing is, we really didn't eat that much food. Like we had
every other line in your show notes is what we had.
But it's not
cake, and we had this stuff.
Right. I mean, we grabbed the cake and stuff, but we ate at the one place in Harry Potter area, and we had the one place in Burke, and then we had the Blue Dragon. But we didn't really hit a lot of stands. That's what I was saying. That like one thing we missed was a lot of like the stands in Celestial Park and stuff. We really didn't get to. So we only got 5 of the items.
Are those stands like Epcot festival booths?
Some of them look like that. Some of them are a little bit bigger. Like there's the Oaken Tavern and stuff like that are a little bit bigger. But yeah, some of them do kind of look more like stands. So
I probably should have looked at your show notes from like, I don't know if I still have access to that spreadsheet that you shared. I forget if you shared it to me with a screenshot or something. But like, it feels like you got a lot what you want. I remember just seeing that list and like, you're never eating this much food. You're never gonna have enough time. I should probably go lower. That's my fault. That's my fault.
Well, yeah, you can look at it afterwards. Now, drinks. I had 12 drinks listed. How many of the 12 drinks do you think we got?
I think you had like 20 of them. Like
20 of the 12.
There is even more. I'm counting like you and your wife both having something and tasting each one. So how did you do?
So we actually got 7 of the 12. But part of it was because we did get different drinks at Blue Dragon than were on my list.
Well, that's fair. You taste change as the day goes by, right?
We kind of hit up some of the ones that were more like that what they were known for or whatever, and like my wife wanted a different one and stuff like that. So, but we did get 7 of the 12 drinks, which I think is really good.
Final question before we wrap this up, because this is a super long episode, and even though everybody always says on Discord we like the super long episodes, we all have to go to bed here. It's late. So, overall, with all of the planning and anxiety and everything that you went through, was all your prep work worth it? Or could you have the same kind of experience without any of the prep work other than just maybe like learning about what's in the park, that sort of thing? How did it, other than like saying, I want to accomplish these kind of drinks and foods and stuff like that, but like the touring of the park, was all that planning worth it?
I think if you wanted to accomplish as many of the things we did and have the breaks and stuff like that, you do have to kind of do some of this planning, and you definitely need to take advantage of that early entry, which, if you're staying at any of the Universal hotels, you do get access to that early entry. So even though you have to come in through the main entrance versus the hotel entrance, but that hour is super critical to getting stuff done. And like I said, at this time, I don't know if I would do the park without Express Pass.
Okay. So yeah, I'm happy that all of your work went towards something. I think you went overboard with all the videos. Now, did the videos like kind of spoil things for you? Because I know you're doing a lot of research with like
I don't think it did, because I didn't watch a lot of like even some of the stuff I was like started to watch. Like I started to watch some of Mammoth's Club where they were like, here's all our guides and tips, and I could tell they were going to be showing too much of the area, so I just turned it off.
Okay.
And stuff like that. So I really did try to avoid.
You protected yourself.
I didn't watch any ride full ride views. Like obviously it's hard to avoid any images, just through seeing things on Twitter and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't watch any full videos of any of the rides and stuff like that. So I did the best I think I could. But obviously you could have gone in completely cold and it probably would have hit me even more. But I don't know. I think I've tried to have a nice balance.
All right, I lied. I have one more question.
Okay.
For you, Phil. Rank Epic Universe amongst the other 4 Disney parks. Where does this go? What's your order now? I'm not counting the other Universal parks because they don't count because they're not as good as Epic.
Yeah.
With, like modern theming and everything.
I mean, it's right up there. Like I said, it's got some challenges with the short number of rides. If you're saying you can go to any park, like I'm giving you park tickets to go to any park, I'd probably put it, maybe just because it's new and stuff, I'd probably put it second behind Epcot.
Okay.
It's probably right up there with Magic Kingdom. Obviously, nostalgia playing a role. It's kind of hard to compare and stuff, but I think I would.
Well, I mean, nostalgia has to play a role. Like,
Yeah.
let's say, forget about cost, right?
Mhm.
They're all similarly priced, and let's assume that you can buy a 4-ticket package that allows you to go to all 5 of these parks, right?
Okay.
Obviously, that never happens. But you can only go to 4 parks for your vacation, right? Sometimes you go down, you only have 3 park days.
Sure.
You have to pick between all of them. So now you have 4 park days. You have to pick 4 out of the 5 parks. You've been to all of them. Like, this
Yep.
wouldn't be your first time
Sure.
at Epic, right? Which 4 parks would you choose?
So definitely Epcot and Epic, and then Magic Kingdom, and then I'd have to decide between.
I'm asking you to decide right now. That's the game, Phil.
That's the game. I'd still probably pick Hollywood Studios. I think Animal Kingdom, within its current state, is still probably least.
Fair enough.
Right.
Especially with all the constructions,
Exactly, yeah.
walls going up and stuff like that. Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Even though, okay. So now this is a true full park experience, right? Now, if we're just doing food and bev, what would be your 4 parks in ranking order?
Food and bev. Ooh. Epic might be 1.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
It's close between it and Epcot. I mean, Epcot has more, but everything that Epic has is really good. Like there's some things at Epcot that are kind of meh. We didn't have anything meh. So I'd probably put Epic 1, then Epcot, then Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Magic Kingdom.
Okay, fair. I mean, yeah, Magic Kingdom's got the worst. Maybe that changes by the time
With
we
Beacon
get back to
Barrel,
Beacon
that might help
push
it
it
out
back
for
up
sure.
Because the reason why I asked that second question is because I wanted Animal Kingdom to get up there. I wanted to see if the food and beverage of like Tiffin's or Nomad's Lounge or all the other Satulis and all the different things, Yak and Yetis.
Oh, I love
elevates that
the
park.
food. It absolutely does for sure.
Yeah.
If only it was open later.
So we have games, but again, they're for next week. We're going to actually have to do a real show next time and not have all the content that you spend all that money enjoying with your wife down there with. If you guys have any questions for Phil, I'm sure you've already asked them because we've already had these conversations as you were there. But I think we will get another trip report for at least another 2 months now, I think. Like you're at the 60-day mark-ish?
Yep. A little inside that. So, about 5 weeks.
Yep. So you're going back. Well, this will be an interesting trip report next time because now it's kind of like a split stay of your family.
Yeah.
Where your daughter has some stuff going on and you and the rest of your family have some stuff going on. So it'll be really cool how you kind of juggle all that. And I can't wait for you to have hoppers, Phil. I can't wait.
That's going to be a different experience.
I can't wait. Have you started planning for this yet? Can we have a therapy session in 2 or 3
maybe
weeks?
Maybe that'll be one of our shows will be therapy.
Yes. We'll have to change your camera. You're gonna be lying down on the couch and we're gonna be like getting you through all the possibilities. We'll get you what is it? The Mind Stone from MCU, so you can see all the different possible configurations of time. So you can get through that. Your Excel spreadsheet is going to be in 3 dimensions, I imagine. Also, it's going to be fantastic. Anyway, we're going to end it there. We're almost at an hour and a half. We appreciate everybody watching and listening. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe buttons. Check us out on Discord, and we'll see you next week.
Take care, everyone.